He ruled the Roman Empire during war, plague, and constant uncertainty. He had absolute power, yet turned to a simple habit to manage his mind. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius picked up a pen and wrote, not for others, but for himself. He didn't call it journaling. He called it reminding himself of who he wanted to be. Today, we call it meditations, and 2,000 years later, it still speaks to us. In this video, we're going to explore how Marcus Aurelius used writing as a tool for clarity, strength, and inner peace, and how you can too. Meditations wasn't a book, at least not at first. It was never meant to be published, praised, or quoted on Instagram. It was Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, human, writing down his thoughts to keep himself grounded. He wrote in Greek, often while traveling with the Roman army. His entries were short, sometimes poetic, sometimes brutally honest. He questioned himself. He reminded himself of Stoic truths. He admitted when he had fallen short. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others, he wrote, unless it is with a view to some mutual benefit. What he left behind is not perfect prose. It's a map of a mind trying to stay rational, calm, and courageous, even when everything around him was falling apart. Why would the most powerful man in the world need to journal? Because even emperors lose their temper. Even emperors wake up tired, distracted, anxious. Even emperors forget what matters. Marcus Aurelius used writing as a mirror, not to impress, but to reflect. He wrote to remind himself of Stoic principles, challenge his impulses and emotions, keep his ego in check, and reconnect with virtue. Stoicism isn't about pretending to be emotionless. It's about becoming aware of your emotions and training yourself not to be ruled by them. That's what his journal helped him do. Let's look at 3 major patterns in meditations that show how Marcus used his writing. Pattern 1. Control what you can. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wrote this to himself over and over. If a general failed him, if a plague ravaged the empire, if death struck close, he reminded himself, can I control this? If the answer was no, he let it go. Journaling was how he repeated that muscle memory. Pattern 2. Return to virtue. For Marcus, the question wasn't, how do I feel? It was, what is the right thing to do? His journal is full of self-corrections. You lost your temper today. You avoided your duties. Do better tomorrow. He wasn't beating himself up. He was staying aligned with his core values. He used the page like a compass, always pointing toward wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. Pattern 3. Memento mori. Remember death. You could leave life right now, he wrote. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus constantly reminded himself, time is short. He wrote about death not to be dark, but to be clear. It sharpened his awareness. It made every decision matter more. Let's break this into a simple, usable method you can try today. Step 1. Choose a time. Marcus wrote in the morning, before the chaos of the day, but evening works too, as a reflection tool. Pick one and stay consistent. Step 2. Use these 3 Stoic prompts. What is outside of my control today, and how can I accept it? Write about what you can't change, people's opinions, events, the past. Then, write how you'll respond instead. What virtue can I practice today? Choose one: courage, wisdom, justice, temperance. Write how you'll show it in real life, not just what it means. If this were my last day, would I be proud of how I'm spending it? This isn't about fear, it's about focus. Let mortality bring meaning to your day. Some bonus tips. Write in second person, like Marcus did. You need to let go of that anger. Be honest. No one needs to read this but you. Keep it short. 3 to 5 minutes is enough. Use a notebook, not just your phone. Your brain processes differently on paper. You don't have to be an emperor to benefit from this. In fact, the world today may need Stoic journaling more than ever. You scroll past outrage all day. You're pulled into comparison, distraction, overload. Stoic journaling is how you center yourself again. You can start this habit today. One entry, one moment of reflection, one chance to reclaim your mind. Marcus didn't write Meditations for us. He wrote it for himself. But in doing so, he left behind a guide for how to think clearly, live intentionally, and face life with courage. So if you ever feel overwhelmed, lost, or uncertain of what to do next, pick up a pen, ask yourself a Stoic question, and write your way toward clarity. You're not writing to be perfect. You're writing to remember who you want to be.